And hello, everybody. It is your host, as always, Leafy, and on tonight's show, I realized I just screwed up the title. Give me a second. There we go. Better. Yeah, here is the bi-weekly art stream. Now, for this one, I've been torn. Because for the past couple days, I've been working on a different project. So, for context, I have the picture. I've had this thing, which before now has gone by the name of Agony. Because it's the name that it just was given. I don't really have a reason, but I've been working on a redesign for this thing. Because, as you might be able to tell, this thing is made up of parts from my original animatronic crew, right? I've had 4 more members since, and 3 members since 2 of them are on one body, but for the sake of the argument, 4. And obviously, they need to be represented. Now, I could have just been lazy and just slapped their parts on and called it a day, but that felt boring. And that felt too easy. And so, I wanted to challenge myself. So I've been working on that thing for the past couple days. But the issue is this series. Because originally it's been branded around drawing for Original Curse. But I kind of want to draw that thing on stream. I was also kind of hoping my co-host would have been here by now so I can ask him. But that hadn't happened, so we're going to flip a coin. We're going to flip a coin and see what happens. Alright, let's say heads is Original Curse. Tails it is. Okay, we're drawing my abomination. Alright, I should have the stream up. You know, I've been doing this for how long now and I still forget to do shit? Give me a moment. I am what is known as a professional. There we go, there we go. I always want to have Twitch pulled up on another device, just so I can kind of see what's happening. Make sure I can hear myself. All that funky business. That appears to be true so far. Yeah, okay, everything looks great. At least everything looks like it's working. So we're gonna call that a win. Okay, so I can get rid of you. But now I need to actually grab this thing. Now, obviously, you can see this thing yourself. Yes, this is an abomination. That's kind of the point. So any comments I see of like, oh, that thing looks terrible. Yes, I am very aware of this. You don't exactly need to tell me that I don't exactly have art skills. Like, this is something I'm very familiar with. Because I've had to look at my own shit for a long time. That being said, though, it's not like this design is god awful. I mean, it's getting the point across. Like, it's a torn apart, put back together animatronic. Like, it gets the point across. And obviously, I've had like a couple different inspirations by this thing, namely Ennard, Molten Freddy, a bit of the Blob. I've had I know there's a fan-made series of animatronics I got inspired by, but I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. And I've also been inspired by actually by the I forget the specific name of what they're called, but the forced gem shard fusions from Steven Universe. I've also been inspired by those. So, fun fact. Can I put that window over here? I can. I did not know that. Okay, that's cool. I mostly did that just so I can, like, read. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Nah, it's fine. Yeah, I did that just so I can read my layers. I suppose there was a couple. I think it was maybe a month ago where I had a conversation with my dad talking about how like, oh, I need glasses, and I said no because one, that's expensive, and two, I don't need them. But I think I might do because I'm not awful at reading stuff from a distance. I'm just bad at reading like small text from a distance, you know? And I'm not sure whether or not that qualifies as like, oh, your ass is just blind, you need glasses. Again, I say no because one, it's not like I can't see that far away. I just can't read tiny text. But also again, that shit's a bit expensive and I can't exactly afford that bullshit. I forget. Ooh, I should have done that. Because a couple, I think it was about like a week ago at this point. I just made a random GoFundMe page. It's not gonna matter, but I figured it's another way to be able to afford some shit, like better tech and whatnot, like a better gaming PC or or what have you. Maybe just some stuff around the house, something like that. I don't fucking know. I just did because it's not gonna hurt me. It's not gonna hurt to try. And like it's an attempt at least. Because I've made it no small thing. Like obviously this is the thing I hope to be able to do in my future as like a full proper career. But obviously at this point in time, it's a pipe dream. That's a pipe dream of pipe dreams. I'm just doing it at this point because fuck it, I'm having fun. And like if you have fun with it, that's kind of part of the point. Like you're enjoying yourself. Even if I am talking to the void at the moment. Like I enjoyed myself and so mission accomplished. That's kind of the point of stuff like this at the end of the day. I say all that realizing that I am not one to talk. I suppose I can go into more detail about this thing. Yeah, this is obviously this thing is supposed to be a redesign of the creature I was just showing off. And so obviously it's built by different parts of my crew. It has like pieces from all of them. Of things that just kind of got torn off, thrown together. Because this... You know, I suppose this is still technically drawing for Original Curse. It's just not chapters, because that's where this guy comes from. Because the original story of that thing is they're at the everyone's at the Pizzaplex, and Gregory and a character I use, Arya, have turned the animatronics back to good. They removed the glitch trap virus, and so after that, everyone's like, "Okay, we gotta go find this William dude." And then Arya says, and Arya's asked, like, "Why are you at the Pizzaplex? Because you said yourself you crawled into a vent, meaning you wanted to be here, but why?" And she says that her parents wanted to come here for some Mara character, and so she wanted to help, and so she snuck into the trunk. And the kids obviously get pissed off at that because, like, hey, Mara's the one who fucking killed us. And they go looking for her, but Vanny and an army of staff bots distract them. And so my crew tells Freddy and the Pizzaplex animatronics, like Freddy, Chica, Monty, Roxy, and the daycare attendant, tells them to take the two kids and leave, and they do. And after like staff bot fight happens, Mara sneaks up on them using the that stage elevator, and tears them apart with an axe, and then leaves, and then the kids eventually pop out of the suits all spirit like, and they're looking at the parts and they're thinking, okay, so no more physical body, but we also can't exactly leave because like we still got things to do. We're still here for a reason, so like we kind of have to stay and help. And then they're all like take a minute to think, well, okay, we're ghosts, meaning that we can't exactly do anything. And our physical bodies are torn to absolute shreds, meaning those are going to be pretty useless to us. So like, well, okay, what do we do? And that's when one of the characters has the idea to do I have that labeled? I labeled all the parts with texts. Yes, I did. No, I did not. That is not a part that's green colored. I made sure to label all these ahead of time, so I made sure what part belongs to who. So for coloring purposes in the future. But anyway. And one of the characters decides, like, well, okay, what if we just kind of build something out of the parts here? And so they get the idea. And then I made sure to write in a little joke of, like, hey, we're we're dead. And one of the characters says like, "Isn't that dangerous?" And then someone else just immediately responds, "Well, we're kind of dead, so there's not exactly anything these things can do to us." And so they take all the parts down to the Pizzaplex parts and service, and just kind of tosses it together into a pile until something works. Which originally led to that monstrosity that it showed. But now, once this design is done, is going to lead to this thing. Now, obviously, what I'm designing here isn't exactly physically possible. But you also gotta remember, one, this is Final Fantasy Freddy's. Half the shit in this series is not physically possible. And two, yeah, it is chaotic. And I can't imagine anyone would look at this and realistically think that this would be useful. But you also gotta remember, these are, at this point in the story, 12 kids. Once my eventual retcon will be 16. So these are 16 teenagers, right? And so they're obviously gonna go for style over substance. Like, yeah, they could obviously just build like a basic ass two-legged, two-armed animatronic and call it a day. But like, where's the fun in that? And also, another thing is that you gotta think about it. When you're looking at hold on. I'm all the endoskeleton joints and hands there are for the future. So let me cover those real quick. There you go. Because you gotta think. What's your first thought when you see this? Like, obviously, it's not done yet. But you gotta just think about it for a second. You're a normal person. You're chilling in a pizzeria. And then out of the fucking blue, you'll see this thing. It's like, what do you even say to that? It's like, what do you do in that scenario? Like, the only thing you can really do is just that meme of, guess I'll die. Because, like, fucking, look at this thing's fucking face. I don't know about you guys, but that'd be terrifying. You just see that thing roaming at you, especially if it's crawling at you. Like, fucking, look at it. I'd show clips of Patrick's, like, look at it. Look at it. But I don't have those on hand. But yeah, it's like, this is something just being designed by 16 children. They have no physical limitations because they're ghosts and don't exactly need to worry about this thing being safe. And obviously, they have a lot of parts to work with. Because not only do they have parts from their own suits, their own 15 suits, but they've also got the Pizzaplex parts to work with. And like, it's quite literally a gargantuan toolbox. Not even toolbox, it's a fucking playground that they can just mess with as much as they want to. It's glorious. And obviously, at some point in the future, I plan to, whenever I actually manage to get around to making the retcon, I refuse to make that until I can animate it with some like Blender or SFM. And so I am absolutely going to have a montage of these characters like pulling apart the leftover bodies that they came in, grabbing some Pizzaplex parts, sticking them together, just see what happens. Maybe an explosion or some sparks here and there. Like, I am absolutely going to be showing the montage into building this monstrosity. Mostly because I can, and mostly because it just be fucking funny. You're like, have you seen this thing? Like, again, it's not done, so the full... I suppose, for lack of a better term, the full grasp of it isn't quite finished. But at the same time, though, like, you look at it. It is terrifying. And even if it does look ugly, I'm so proud of it, because I love it. Not just the design of it, but also, like, the idea and the inspirations. Because, like, I don't know if it's been... I'm pretty sure it's been made pretty obvious, but I kind of have an obsession with Steven Universe. Probably because it's, like, the best cartoon I've watched. And so, yeah, I love that show to death. It is like, the best cartoon that I've seen. Excuse me. Yeah, it's my favorite cartoon ever. And so, obviously, I'm going to have, like, a bit of inspiration coming from it. And since this thing is completely inspired by that series, I love it. Okay. I think I'm done with the endoskeletons in the suit. I just need to, like, draw wires and stuff coming out of them, which I will do. Yeah, that's not looking too bad. And obviously, this thing is a bunch of parts inspired by not only my crew, but some of the classic characters. So you got the hand of of the daycare attendant here, both versions. You've got all four Glamrock hands. You've got limbs from them, so on and so forth. I don't think I put any Pizzaplex parts in the head. Although, I kind of should, actually, because that'd be... I should give this thing Roxy's hair. Because that would be fucking funny. Yeah, alright, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to give this thing Roxy's hair. It might be a little hard to do, but I can do it. I'll learn how to do it just because it's going to be funny. Alright, I need a picture of Roxy, actually. I'm going to pull that up on my iPad. Can I split screen Twitch? Yes, I can. Alright, that solves that issue. So I can multitask. Yeah, I need to actually get a reference for what her hair looks like. I know it because Roxy is one of the best Security Breach characters, so I'm familiar with her design. Keyboard, hello. Doesn't want to search. Okay, fine. I'll use my phone. Okay, you work. And yeah, I am 100% stealing from, Now, here's the question. Do I take it from base Roxy? Or her shattered variation? I don't want to take it from Ruined Roxy, because that kind of defeats the purpose. Because Ruined Roxy has, like, no hair. Like, just actually no hair at all. Well, not no hair, but, like, a very small amount of hair. It probably make a bit more sense to take it from from a Shattered Roxy. I kind of want to take him from Base Roxy though. Fuck it, I'm gonna do that. I'm taking it from Base Roxy. And I got a picture on my phone, so we're gonna use that. Is this gonna look good? Probably not, but we're gonna roll with it anyway. Because again, 16 teenagers. They probably only like use the hair because it's funny. All right, for the sake of a conversation, I am pretty bad when it comes to watching quote unquote popular anime, and I want to get better at that eventually. But one example off the top of my head, there's a song, an original fan made, I think fan made song made by I don't know who made it actually. I, I don't actually know who made it, but it was a fan made song made for One Piece. And as far as I understand it, it's just a song going over like individual members of the Straw Hat Pirates. Because I know that much. There's not a lot I know, but I know that much. I know that's what they're called. And it just kind of goes over like who they are, where they come from, that kind of thing. And I will be 100% real. That song is a fucking a bop. Like, it is fantastic. I love it. I know next to nothing about One Piece. But if I know one thing, I want to watch it. I kind of want to watch it now for that music alone. It is that good. I won't play it here because I kind of don't want my stream to be attacked by copyright. But like, just it's really good music. I could be describing it better because like all it really is all the song really is just uh one verse per member of the crew besides Luffy himself. Because you've got like Zoro, you've got I know my friend told me their names. What were their names? Yeah, I'm thinking the Usopp and Nami. Yeah, I saw those. Yeah, there's those two. It has as far as I know, all of the members of the pirates. I can't quite confirm that because again, complete One Piece noob here. and I can already hear an army of One Piece fans just sharpening their pitchforks, saying like, "You haven't watched One Piece yet," and like, yeah, admittedly my fault because I realistically I could have watched it like a lot sooner. I just haven't. Not because I haven't been interested, because truth be told, I've been interested in One Piece for quite a while. The only reason haven't really gotten around to it was one, I've had other things on my plate, on my social media plate that I've been watching, and two, I'm really bad at prying myself away from what I'm currently watching if I want to watch something else. Because I'm sure you all know like the rabbit hole joke of like you watch one thing and then you watch another and then another and suddenly it's 5 a.m. I am like the embodiment of that meme. I am the pure embodiment of that meme right there. Because it does not matter what I am watching. I will not be able to pry myself away from it. Even if I did want to. I realize that saying that is kind of an odd thing to say. It's just kind of what is true. Also, if you hear talking in the background, that is because our house is currently trying to deal with not chaos. Ow! I just hit my mic. But just a couple things going a bit sideways that is currently being dealt with. Not bad, hence nothing too bad, hence why I've been able to be here. What the fuck? Okay. Yeah, just something that needs to be dealt with regardless. Can't get a good picture. I'm trying to look at like the back of Roxy's hair so I can get a better look at it, but I can't quite do that. Oh, I was working with what I got. Cause to be fair, Roxy's hair isn't all that complicated. It's just like several streaks. Another reason why I haven't gotten to One Piece is that I've only had Crunchyroll for not all that long. And the things I've been watching on that while I've had it were like Dragon Ball and Spy X Family, a little bit of Black Butler. I was going to get to One Piece, but then I got fired and I kind of like couldn't keep up the subscription. And so I just kind of had to like cancel it. I would have loved to have gotten to One Piece eventually because by all accounts it looks like a great show, right? Like it looks fantastic. I just haven't gotten to it. I will eventually. Like, make no mistake, that is something I plan to eventually accomplish. It's just gonna have to wait a while until I can get an actual job. Yeah, and that's gonna take a while because I'm still. Okay. But it's really hard to explain without me sounding absolutely pathetic. But the reason I haven't exactly been for lack of a better term, too eager in looking for another opportunity for a job is because it's really hard for me to look at subscription application and be able to fill it out honestly. And also, but also that, and I'm really convinced that my old boss, being my dad, is kind of one of the only bosses in out there that would be able to tolerate me. Not the only one, of course. I'm sure there are other people foolish enough to also do so. But yeah, that's kind of the thing about it though, is that like by all means, I really don't have a whole lot to offer when it comes to being an employee, much less to like a big fancy company. My guy is hideous. I love it. Yeah, it's like I don't exactly have a whole lot to offer, and so that's another reason why I haven't been too eager in trying. And make no mistake, I am very aware that that is quite the excuse in not trying. It's just kind of what is true. Like, I'm fully aware that that is a big excuse. And if you want to write me off as just like being a basic bitch coward, then go ahead. And I suppose to some extent you're not wrong. Yeah, no, like, you're not wrong. It is a bit, like, cowardly to do. At the same time, though, there's just kind of, I can't really think of a way to describe it. I suppose the best way I can think to describe that kind of thing is, I can't think of a good way to describe it. I suppose the best way I can think to do it so is like is like the thought process of if you know it's not gonna work, you're not gonna bother trying it. And again, that could entirely just be me being a coward, which is fair. Also, again, if you hear stuff in the background, that's just the situation being dealt with. Yeah, it's not like a lovely situation. Let me be 100% clear on that one. Like, I'm not like make no mistake when I say stuff like that. I ain't proud of it. Like, I ain't proud of any of this, right? Like, I'm not exactly happy about being an unemployed person, you know? Like, I'd love to have a job that I can do. Because by all accounts, it's not bad. It's like you get a job you really vibe with, you can have some fun with it. Especially like my last job. Like, I don't know if I've ever said it on stream, but I was a baler. And by all accounts, I had fun with it. Like, I enjoyed cleaning. It was a it was a job that was physical. I didn't have to think too much about it. I just did. And I got to listen to my YouTube Premium. And I won't say the how much I got paid because I'm pretty sure I can't. But like, it wasn't a horrible amount of money. It wasn't enough. Like, it certainly wasn't enough. But then that's kind of welcome to welcome to the welcome to any job ever. Like, you're never paid enough. Yeah, like that. Like, that's not special. That's just any job. And even as I said that, like, I still made it work. Like, I was able to take what I got paid, and I made it work. Was it great? No, but it did what it was supposed to. The only primary issue that was faced at the moment was was just a simple, like, we don't get I didn't get enough to be able to really grow at all. Not that that's entirely true, because there were definitely points in time where I did have enough to do that. Hence why I have the computer I have now. But that was like very early into the process. Whereas later on, um, that kind of praise just kind of dwindled. And even then, that's not really praise, quote unquote. That's kind of like, well, no, duh. You have money, you can buy things. Like that's just facts. Because even then, it didn't pay me enough to be able to get like some of the more high end stuff. And then also there's the obvious fact that I got fired for basically no reason. Now, to be a little bit fair, technically I wasn't fired. I was just more laid off. But then I'm pretty sure everyone in I'm fairly certain everyone here in the anyone watching this will know that that's just kind of corporate bullshit. I may not be the smartest tool in the I may not be the smartest, but I know bullshit when I see it. I know bullshit when I hear it. And that, my friends, is a bit of bullshit. Because, actually, fun fact, a couple days after I had gotten laid off, um, to help my dad get all of his stuff out of his office, I was actually brought along to do that. Meaning I actually got to see the shop after I left. And dear God. Like, it was quite the mess. It was honestly glorious to see. Because, like, it had only been a couple days after I had gotten fired. So, like, it didn't even take them a week to start falling apart. It took them, like, 3 days to start having issues. And that was just hilarious. Like, not 3 weeks, but 3 days. And you could be sure when I say that it was great to witness. Am I mean for saying that? Yeah, potentially, but then also, like I've made very clear, I'm not exactly friendly to companies like that. I don't really have a reason to be. I fully live by the thought process of like, if they don't care about you, you shouldn't care about them. And that's true for a lot of things, but especially when it comes to companies. Because that's why, because obviously, like, probably something that doesn't need to be said, it's usually always better to buy locally somehow, or in some fashion. Not only for the obvious answer of local stuff just tends to be better quality, but also buying locally also just tends to have better practices. Cause like it's not like a set in stone fact, but local companies tend to have far better practices. And that's mostly because, like, obviously they can't exactly afford to not do so. But even then, it's like some of them could if they really wanted to, and yet they never do. And that's kind of the beauty of it, because it can be pretty hard sometimes to find a good company. Because for one reason or another, a lot of companies tend to be pretty scummy. And I'm not saying that like all small companies are good, and I'm not gonna say all big companies are evil. I'm just saying, for lack of a better term, Occam's razor tends to really be true. I'm pretty sure everyone knows what I'm talking about. But for the two of you that don't, Occam's razor's thought process that basically said the easiest answer is usually going to be the correct one. That's not the exact phrasing. Let me look it up actually, so I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, what's the quote? That's my question. Yeah, Occam's razor is a problem solving principle that suggests that when presented with competing hypotheses, the one with the fewest assumptions should be selected. It is also known as the principle of parsimony. Essentially, the simplest explanation is often the most likely to be correct. Exactly. And that's kind of true for companies. Because when you look at smaller ones, like more local businesses, those are tend to. Okay, I was about to word that in a really strange way, so I'm not gonna word it like I was about to. But local companies tend to be run better because they're more community tied. They're more. I suppose you can say they're more based in people. No, that's actually a perfect way to put it. Local companies are more based in people, whereas bigger companies like say Walmart and Target, Amazon, and Tesla, those are uh, based in profit rather than people. And obviously, you're gonna have some exceptions like Mr. Beast and I think I forget his name. What does he do? He does like a yearly letter thing where he addresses big issues. I forget his name. But I heard that he's a decently rich dude. And he does well. And then you also got people like Mr. Beast, who are pretty famous for how rich they are. And while he's admittedly a bit of a less good example because let's just say issues that have been arising around Mr. Beast. But he's also not. But he's also a pretty decent dude. Not perfect by any stretch of imagination, but decent. Yeah, it's a torso. Okay. If it looks like I'm not doing anything, that's because I have my layer list on a separate window just for my ease of access. Okay, I need to shift this over to the left a bit. Because something I noticed yesterday while I was working on this thing, I completely forgot to include parts from my hand puppets that my characters have. And so obviously I need to get those fixed. Or not fixed, but like filled in. Actually, well, I'm thinking about it. I want to take these guys and shrink them down just a touch. Because I had the hands and feet endoskeletons because I plan to have just hands and feet sticking out of it. But yeah, something I did completely forget to include was excuse me, was the hand puppets, so I need to include those real quick. So I need to grab. Actually, you are that one. I'm gonna take that one. I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, I remember. I will watch One Piece one day. Like, make no mistake. Like, I certainly will. Like, that's something that's set in stone. I can swear that promise now. I'm going to watch it. I just need to actually do so. Wait a minute. Wait, hold on. I just realized the problem. I've got two. I have two of Ninja's mask in this thing. That's not. That's a problem. There's a problem. I need to fix that. How do I? What do I do? Because there's only one of him. I suppose I could borrow someone else's, because that's Ninja, Leafy, Tatsu, Citrus, and Original. And yeah, I suppose you can give the explanation of that's just scrap metal that's been fused to look like it. But that kind of feels like a bit of a cheap answer. I know exactly what I want to do. I know exactly what I'm going to do. Nino, you are going to be replaced with, let's say, Ceresio. That's not my PC keyboard. There we go. Alright, it should still work, because the mask is relatively close to it. Alright. I am going to clear that layer, because I don't need it at the moment. I'm going to make a layer here. You could say, if you really wanted to, that this is a... Oh, wait a minute. Wait, hold on. No, because that doesn't work either, because I already took his jaw. Now, who do we use then? I already did you. I'll take from Ember. Because I wanted to figure out how I can put Ember into the head, and I never could. So I was like, I'm just going to take from her. Excuse me. I just don't need the screen rotate anymore. I could include the flowers, but I don't really think I need to. Yeah, I don't really think I need to. Or at least not directly on the head. I can probably put them, like, somewhere else. Yeah, but for right now, though, it's just going to be the suit mask. There we go. And it should be a similar-ish size to Leafy's mask. And it is. Mostly. It's a bit wider than Tatsu's mask was, or Ninja's. But I think that's fine, because the jaw is already... The bottom jaw is already kind of wider than Tatsu's mask already was. I just gotta shift it a bit to make the eye socket work. Yeah, there you go. Okay. I got that problem solved. Now I just need to fix the... I gotta fix the hair. Yeah, now I just gotta fix the hair, because I gotta lower the mask, lower the hat as well. Thankfully, this isn't a difficult process. It's just slight editing that needs to happen. But so yeah, there's your issue solved. I just gotta remember what part of her hair that I took. Or not her hair, but her head. Because obviously this thing is going to later on have bits and bobs from everyone. And I need to remember it was my left of her head. Which shouldn't be too bad. And again, that's like questioning that I don't need to do. Well, questioning. Maybe a bad choice of words. It's not something I really need to be too concerned with. There we go. Okay, that didn't really... I didn't really do a whole lot. I just had to scoot it down. And remove a bit more line. Well, there you go. Problem solved. I didn't actually take too long. And hey, I have citrus and ember in the top head. Because something I did with this design was I did a lot of putting parts from ember and citrus right next to each other. Because obviously, Quinn, who I had on for the last stream, had asked that citrus and ember are canonically best friends. Because she loves Ember's design. Because she loves red pandas just in and of themselves, I think. And then I had showed off Ember's design when she was first created. And one of the first things she asked was, can they be friends? Which is very valid, because Ember is very cute. I like Ember's design as well. I'm definitely proud of it. Not just because she's cute, but also I think I got off the red panda vibe pretty well. Obviously, I had very inspiration from not only just the actual animal of a red panda, but also animation media like that. I think it was Disney. I think it was a Disney movie, Turning Red. I had inspiration from that, meaning I knew what a cartoony red panda could look like. Or not could look like, but would look like. So I definitely had inspiration. Like that's very true. And it was still a fun thing to do. Like I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed it. Honestly, I kind of dig the design for the new characters, because the characters that weren't in the original design that are now are Richie, Saraziel, Noxtra, and Ember. And I designed two of them myself. One of them I bought from Quinn, because Richie was originally a character she made, and then had gotten sold to me. And then after that, I figured, well, I have this new one. And because I like even numbers, I need 3 more characters to make the number of... I need either 1 or 3 more characters to make the number of Shadow animatronics I have even. Because I wanted half of them to look like Shadow Freddy and the other half to look like Shadow Bonnie. And so I was looking at my list of characters, and I had seen that, I didn't do that. What I wanted to do was, I had the idea of making a 2-in-1 character, someone that was obviously one body but with 2 different characters. Hence, my 2 XLLs, Noctra and Cerezial. And then obviously, like, okay, I still have the same issue of now the designs are uneven. Because I thought it'd be really funny for Cerezial and Noctra, when I made their shadow designs, for them to not be inspired by the same animatronic, but one of them be from Bonnie and the other from Freddy. Does it make sense? No. Is it funny? Yes. So I thought that'd be funny. But then, obviously, at that point, you come across the issue of like, okay, I still have the exact same problem, so I just need to make one more character. And I was just looking at different animatronic fan-made designs, and I noticed that I didn't really come across any red pandas. Now I'm certain there are red panda fan-made animatronics that I just didn't come across in my time looking, but I didn't see any. So I had assumed that no one had done it, or at least no one made any public post about it. And so that got me the idea of like, hey, I haven't seen any of those designs. Let me make a red panda. Because, let's be real, red pandas are freaking adorable. And they just are. Like, you can't tell me red pandas are not adorable, because they are. And so we did that. I did that. Also, my co-host just canceled, so that's great. Oh. I'm used to streaming alone. Alright. Alright. And I'm still kind of proud of the design because, like I said, Ember is very cute. Like, look at this. I thought it'd be smart for, because when I look at a picture of a red panda, you usually see their chest looking a bit white. But I thought, that's boring. And with her name being Ember, I had obviously was taking some inspiration from like fire or at least like heat. With because red panda, like Hargy Har. And so I thought it'd be cool to use a more like heaty, yellowy red instead of just straight up white. And that's what I did. I made like the warm yellow. And to be fair, it still worked really well. Like, I suppose at a glance you can call it a little bit awkward because it looks like her body's covered in piss. But then you look at the design as a whole and you start thinking, okay, this isn't that bad. Like, yeah, like, it's a good design. Is it the best design ever? No, absolutely not. I ain't about to try and claim that it is. But I still did well. I did well enough, at least. Why am I trying to draw that out legit? I have references. And the entire point of this thing is to trace. Should I include? Because they're not hand puppets like everyone else is. I suppose I could. Like, including Noctra's little, like, chip buddies. Because they're not hand puppets. But they have the same stature as they do. I suppose there's nothing really stopping me. Let me, do they have the same, like, belly design? Yeah, they do. Yeah, okay. I can include parts of them, at least. Okay. So let's go with that, then. That kind of solved that issue real quick. But yeah, I've got 5 to take inspiration. Well, 5 now. Yeah, I have 5 of these to take from. Obviously, this one from Leafy. I've got Midnight's puppet, and Honey has 2 of them. I'm not gonna include parts from. Huh. I was about to say I'm not gonna include parts from the like little hand things from other characters, like Shisuta, for example. Her little hand puppet buddy is just a lollipop with eyes and hands. And I was originally not going to include from him, because like, yeah, he's a hand, like he's a little hand buddy, but he's not like one of these guys. You know what I mean? But I thought, you know, what's stopping me from just doing that? Like what's stopping me? Because it'd be cute. Okay. Hey, no, screw it. let's go for it. It's definitely gonna take a hot second because these guys got a lot of parts. Oh, but that's the joy of it. Obviously, I plan to change some of the looks of this in the future. I'm just tracing this out now so I can use future references from the other ones to kind of like sap inspiration off of stuff. Sap inspiration. Because like obviously it's not just going to be taking Goldie wholesale. I'm just using them for the base trace because they're the most. Well, not the most standard, because I suppose if we're talking standard, that would be that'd be Midnight's buddy Icy. Because Icy is just straight up almost a Bonbon lookalike. Again, not completely. Because yeah, like I never copied like any character in FNAF Wholesale. Mostly because one, that's not really fair to Scott. Well, fair. I say that knowing I've seen FNAF fan animatronics that were just straight up canon FNAF characters, either different colors or a different hat. So I can't talk too much when it comes to that. And even if I did do that, like, Scott's chill. Scott wouldn't really care. So I suppose it wouldn't really have done too much harm if I did that. But then the also another reason is just like, well, where's the fun in doing that? I'm certainly not doing this to make my life easier. Like, again, have you seen this thing? This thing is chaotic design incarnate, and I am here for it. There you go. There's the base of it. I just need to now start dealing with other parts of it. I know I want to include one of the hands from... I'm going to include the hook. Because Honey's hand puppet has a hook. And the other one has a cupcake plate. And I wanted to include from one of those. I just couldn't decide which. But now I can. Because I'm just going to use the hook. I just gotta actually find them first. There you are. Would you be so kind as to give me your little hand, buddy? To go on the anime conversation I was having a minute ago, using that like brief Crunchyroll subscription I had, I watched Spy X Family. I'm just gonna say it. That's the best anime ever. Like hands down, wholesale. Like not even a moment's thought into answering that question. That is the best anime I've seen. Because it is just pure wholesome incarnate, and I live for it. Like, that show is goddamn adorable. I love the favorite part. The part I like watching the most is the fact that Anya knows that her parents aren't, like, not real parents. Like, she knows that Lloyd's a spy and Yor is an assassin. But she can't say it because then people are gonna figure out, like, hey, you're not exactly a normal kid. And that's also something funny I enjoy about it is that like Lloyd is supposed to be like an ace detective. He can figure out anything given enough time. And yet somehow he lives with an assassin and does not know it. Same with Anya being a psychic and the dog being able to see the future. Like, this man is a genius, and yet he still doesn't figure it out. Like, he's not stupid. That's for sure. Like, he's not dumb. He's just kind of... He's kind of silly. In the sense of, like, I'd be able to figure that shit out, and I'm not nearly as smart as he is. Then again, obviously, I'm a watcher of the show, meaning I kind of know all that to begin with. But even if I didn't, like, okay, there's no good way to segue into this, but, there's a little series I've seen on YouTube floating around. That's basically, like, what if Batman made contingency plans for insert X character here. And he's done 3 of them. Now, like, yeah, it's an AI series, so take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt. But I like looking at it. Because, like, yeah, obviously it's AI. And I can't comment on the, like, profit margins from it because I don't know how much money it makes if it does. But I think just looking at it, like, solo, it looks good. because it's just on paper, it's a very funny concept because it's just Batman looking at characters from other fictions and just discussing what he'd do if he needed to make contingency plans around them. And the ones he's done were, and he did one for Yor, Lloyd, and Anya, and even the dog. And it's great to watch. Like, obviously, you get that whole, like, oh, it's AI, meaning it's automatically garbage. And, like, yeah, that's fair to say. I would personally disagree with this series because I can't quite place how to describe it, but it has more heart and soul than normal AI stuff does. I suppose that's kind of a redundant thing to say because it's AI, meaning that it kind of already doesn't have that. So I suppose take what I just said for what you will. But I wouldn't exactly call it like horrifically bad. It's just kind of a bit awkward to like look at because like yeah, obviously AI. That being said though, I've watched a couple of them and they're not all that bad cuz again, like it's and it's not even really all that much AI, it's just AI speech. Not to say like AI speech is any better. But like there's no like AI images. It's just actual pictures of the characters like Goku. I think he did one for Beerus. I remember seeing it, but I don't remember watching it, so I might be crazy. I mean, to be fair, that's all it is. It's just fictional character. What would Batman do? It's simplistic, but I think it kind of works with it, you know. Like it takes that simplicity and it kind of just runs with it in a way that I think does it pretty well. But that's just me, and I sometimes don't exactly know what I'm talking about. Alright, let me look at these guys. That should be enough. I've also watched a little bit of Black Butler, which is also pretty good. It's not like top anime material, but I think it's just kind of like a standard goofiness that I typically enjoy. And honestly, the line "I'm one hell of a butler" just goes really fucking hard. Because it reminds me of I think it was a comic at one point. I don't remember. But it was a it's like Alfred. Like someone manages to break into the Batcave and Alfred introduced himself as like the Wayne Butler and someone who takes out the trash. And then he just fucking shotgun shoots someone. It's like that is genius. Cause like yeah, like it's very true. Cause like he is by no means a Batman. Cause that no killing rule applies to Batman and pretty much Batman alone. That's how when you're stuck with Alfred, like you're kind of screwed. It's like, am I wearing a cowl? No. Well, too bad. You've been luckier if I was. Like, that's just genius writing. Like, I wish I could write that well. Because it's such a line. And it's such genius, too. Because, like, yeah, realistically, Alfred would not be playing by the same rules that Batman is. And so you would be luckier if you were facing Batman. Because with Batman, you'd at least live. Alfred, though, nah. Like, the only option your ass has is the prey. It's to just pray Batman stops Alfred first, or Alfred decides to be nice. Aside from that though, like, nah, bitch, you're screwed. Man, you are cooked 6 ways from Sunday. You know, ironically speaking, I think this version of this character might be a bit more repaired than the other one was. At least with certain parts. Honestly, this is kind of like just Frankenstein materials. Like, that's more or less what I'm making. It's just a Frankenstein robot. I didn't mean to do that. I forgot to take off that first. There we go. Alright. I need to take these little bits off first, because that's part of the endoskeleton, and I want to keep that in separate layers. Because all getters have layers. Yeah, after I make the joke, it kind of makes me think of something. Can someone explain to me why people hated Shrek the Third so much? Like, I'm not about to say it's like a cinematic masterpiece. Like, no, it's not exactly the peak movie. It wasn't that bad though. Like, not good, just not terrible. It was a pretty mediocre movie, all things considered. And I suppose that's where my confusion's coming from, because I see people online just absolute trashing the movie. Like, it was, like, it's a disaster. It ruined Shrek movies. Like, but why though? Like, what was so offensive about the movie? Now, granted, it has been a hot minute since I've watched it, so I could very well just be forgetting something. But at least from what I remember in the movie, it was just kind of pretty typical, quote unquote, plot for the movie. I'll admit, it is kind of a bit cheap to pull the distant relative from another land out of nowhere. That was a bit cheap. But aside from that, like, it was just a mediocre movie. Now, if we're talking like Shrek the Third, or no, what was the name of the movie with Rumpelstiltskin? Okay, yeah, Shrek the Third is the one I'm thinking of. The one that people hated. So what was the other one? Oh, it was Shrek Forever After, right? Yep. That movie was good. I enjoyed it. Cause I love it when you see a story take a certain trope and then twist it somehow. Like, you expect one thing to happen and then it doesn't. Or it happens, but, like, in a special, different way. I love it when stories do that. Mostly because, like, we've seen those sorts of tropes, like, 1,000 times. And then you start to see the setup for the same trope. It's like, okay, here we go again. But then at the tail end, you get that switch. And then, oh, like, oh, that's genius. Like Shrek Forever After. Because you're expecting True Love's Kiss to work. But until the very end of the movie, it doesn't. Now, obviously, that's not exactly a perfect scenario. Because, again, by the end of the movie, the thing that's the cliche ends up being the thing that works. So it's not perfect. But it had to end itself somehow. And to be fair, like, they still play it off pretty well. Because, again, the entire point is that Shrek's expecting it to just work. Like, they just kiss and then suddenly everything's back to normal. But no, he has to earn it again. Especially with that universe's Fiona, who just fails to believe in True Love's Kiss anymore because of how long she spent in the tower. And that's also an interesting thing, how they kind of completely reverse the roles. How Fiona was the one who believed in True Love's Kiss at first. And now it's Shrek having to convince her that it works. And then Shrek having to convince Donkey to be friends. It's been a while since I've actually watched the movie myself, so I don't quite remember all of it. But it was it's a good movie. I see people hating on it. It's like, I don't get why. Like, is it just because it came after the third? Also, isn't Shrek the Third the fourth movie? And by that logic, Shrek Forever After would be the fourth movie, because it'd be Thor Ever After. These people in Hollywood are fucking amateurs. Like, where's the creativity? You know, have some creative backbone, goddammit. It's not gonna kill you. Excuse me. I just wanted to ramble about that movie for a minute. Because, like I said, I think it plays its tropes really well. Because it's kind of movie that knows what it's doing. Honestly, I'd love to watch, like, more movies. I just need to actually have an attention span. Because that's kind of why I've been so addicted to YouTube recently. Because it's a lot faster. Most of the time. And it also feels a lot more human, for lack of a better term. I really enjoy the personal touch that YouTube has because obviously you're watching a creator creating. And I dig that sort of like realness. That's kind of why I can't really get myself to watch stuff like how-to videos. Because like obviously two of the things I want to do, I want to learn how to do as soon as possible are driving and cooking. But I can't really get myself to watch how-tos on stuff like that. Because like it's really hard to find one that has that personal touch. Not saying it's impossible. I've seen it done. It's just hard to find because usually you get that like basic, not robotic, but impersonal kind of thing. Like there's no connection being had toward that. And obviously, like, there's no connection in actual YouTube videos. So I suppose saying that in and of itself is kind of a moot point. So it's not exactly a perfect argument. But when it comes to YouTube, there's a lot more personality in it. And that's why I like watching stuff like Megamind. Not because that's just one of the best movies out there, but because it has that it has that personality. With Megamind himself especially. Because you look at him, you hear him talk for a couple minutes, and then, like, you know what he's about, right? Like, you know who he is, and what he does. Like, it's easy to understand the movie just by, like, catching some clips of it, right? Especially with the final battle in that movie. And that's also a great way to learn about, like, who Titan is. Because you see him in the final battle, and, like, you know what he's about. He's bullheaded, he's brash, he's vengeful, he holds grudges. But then Megamind, with his fan-fucking-tastic entrance, like, I'll say, I enjoy The Mask more as a movie. But The Mask himself does not hold a candle to Megamind. Like, it's not a competition. Anyway. I ramble a lot about just, like, needless things. Which helps me make things for this series a lot, but it also kind of makes me forget about what I was talking about. Yeah, I really need to watch more movies. I hear so many movies out there that, like, people tell me to just, like, go watch, and, like, I want to. And I will eventually. I just need to actually sit down and do it. And like, it's not that I can't. It's just like I said, I tend to get pretty absent-mindedly distracted. And so it like takes me time to get into watching that kind of thing. Time, more quote unquote. Alright, I'm not using the right tool. The head here is a bit small, so I plan to do some upscaling to make it look better. Like, make it a bigger size than that. I'm also not going to be tracing the jaw because I have an idea for that. Yeah, there's that. Set that piece off to the side. Need my keyboard again. Excuse me. Alright, and then where is Midnight U? I realize the head shape of these two doesn't exactly look all that different. Yeah, because both of these guys got Toy Bonnie inspiration for their head shapes, so they kind of end up looking a bit similar. Oh. Yeah, like I said, I plan to scale this up a bit, because it is a bit small. Because that, picture of Leafy is really old. I really should get to remaking it. I really should. Because, yeah, that drawing, while not the most atrocious thing I've ever made, is really old and outdated. Well, outdated. Yeah, not technically outdated. Just I I don't know what else to call it, because like it's not outdated because I haven't changed the design at all. I don't know, maybe somebody can translate my ramblings. Like the ramblings of an insane person. But also, I kind of forgot that her design is a chicken, which actually kind of makes my job a bit easier. Because all that means is that I just split the beak in half. Yeah, there's his jaw. I really want to see what this thing is going to look like as a 3D model, because I just have the mental image. Because Snowy's a wolf, but he's also a hand puppet, meaning his snout wouldn't be too long. But even no matter how long I end up making it in a model, the beak on the other one is going to be shorter regardless. So that's just going to be really funny to see the beak like not fit. I don't know. This is kind of why I don't really think about designing these guys ahead of time. Mostly because that's just something that usually doesn't cross my mind. But also, I also think of it as like, if I don't think about it now, I'll have to think about it later, meaning I'll have to come up with some creative workaround to an issue. I say issue, but I don't really even really mean issue. It's just something that like I have to think about later. And so I can usually come up with some funny explanation as to why it makes sense. Or like how it works. It's also kind of fun to just sort of for lack of a better term, over-designed these guys. Because again, like you get a lot of creative inspirations. You have a lot of areas to put it in one piece. And then after that, once you're like coloring it, or in my case, when I eventually get around to modeling it, I'll have to make workarounds in order to make everything, excuse me, make sense. Is it a terribly needed thing? No. But I have fun with it. Honestly, I really am looking forward to eventually getting around to making this thing in Blender. Honestly, I'm looking forward to making the rest of my crew. I just need to wait a while on that until I can get a better computer. I know I know the cookies don't have ears, but do they have tufts? Like tufts of feathers. No, they do not. They are bald. Okay. What am I gonna do with the bow tie? Because most of them have one. Well, 3 of them do. Now, what am I talking about? I know exactly what I'm going to do with that. I know exactly what I'm going to do. Because the answer to that is just as simple as take the pieces of all 3 of them, just make one bow tie out of it. Like, take the middle button from one half of one side with someone else, and the last piece with another one. Yeah, that's a really easy answer. I try not to overcomplicate these things sometimes. Sometimes it does not work. There you go. That's not exactly what her tuft looks like. It's a close enough approximation. Yep. Good enough. Select all of those. Can I look at it, please? Thank you. Feels a bit big for the body. That looks better. Slide you in right there. Perfect. Then I can do that. There you go. Beautiful. Beautiful. Alright. Now what next do I need to do? I gotta wire up the bottom part. Okay, so let me grab all of these parts. Shift those off to the side here. There you go. I am talking to myself a bit, but I kind of do that just so I can like keep for lack of a better term, keep grasp. Oh, the wrong button. I wanted this one. To keep grasp of what I'm doing. Just kind of like, for lack of a better term, focus my mind. Honestly, you watch me do stuff for a while, you would think I am just completely insane. Because at some point, I will eventually just sound like I'm talking to myself, and that just sound like I'm a crazy person, which I'm kind of talking to myself now. But I'm talking to myself with a purpose. Alright, now here's the heart. I forgot about the torso. I'll deal with that later. Because I've got 4 endoskeletons I'm taking from. My normal one, Leafy's endo, Ningyo's endo, and the Glamrock endo. And so I obviously want to take a piece from all of them to mesh into the final torso endo piece. I'm just not sure what to take from who. So I'll definitely be coming back to that later on, when I get more of like an idea. Because like there's nothing stopping me from like designing that now. I just need to decide what to use. I'm drawing it. Yes. I think I am drawing on the right layer, am I? You always gotta make sure you're not making sure you're doing everything properly. Because something I've definitely learned over my time in drawing is that if you notice a mistake too late, it can be really hard to fix. So you always want to make, well, maybe not too hard, but it's more like an annoyance. Because I remember my my Phantom Mizu design. I used a different color. I changed the color of his outline to, I think, a pink to help me edit out the parts of the phantom texture that aren't supposed to be there, because they'd be like texturing nothing. The parts that are supposed to be transparent. But I realized I had solidified all of the parts too late. And that's something that kind of bugs me with art softwares. Like, I get why they do it, but I hate when you exit out of a software or exit out of a project and come back in. You can't undo steps that happened before you left. I realize there's probably like some technical limitation to it, hence why they don't do it. It's just kind of a thing where like I wish they had it to where it didn't really matter. Because like let's say I made that line, I saved and I left, but then when I came back, I could just undo the step. I wish they could do that, but I'm also aware that they probably can't do that, which is why it's something that already doesn't happen. Because I get the feeling that if it was something they could do, they'd do it. Because like that's just a handy step. Now I love adding these leg wires. Because, truth be told, Molten Freddy, the character that I'm getting these sorts of ideas from, is probably my favorite of the scrap animatronics. Like the FNAF 6 Salvage crew. Mostly because of his lore, granted. But also, the design is really interesting. Because, it's, you can tell, at least to some degree, that it's supposed to be entered, right? Like, it might be a little hard to see, but you can tell to some degree that it's supposed to be entered. Like, obviously, it's a spaghetti creature. It only has the mask. There's eyeballs all over it. You can tell that it's supposed to be entered. But then you also see that, like, okay, well, Scrap Baby's not there anymore. And Scrap Baby was the ringleader of sorts. So what happens now? Well, Scrap Baby was the one who, like, kept the thing in place. And so without her inspiration, Entered's original mask got trashed. The body is a lot less in stability. Because, like, Molten Freddy has working arms. That's kind of it, though. Everything else is just Robo Noodles. Especially Molten Freddy's lower region. Now, there's some Molten Freddy fan-made animatronic or models that have the bottom of him be legs, which I get. But I never really liked it when models did that because it just kind of felt wrong to do, for lack of a better term. Mostly because we sort of see Molten Freddy's lower half in his secret image. And it's kind of obvious that he doesn't have legs. Because when you look at that secret image, all you see is a mask and a pile. Like, there's no parts for a leg. You're not seeing any feet. You're not seeing any feet. And saying that out loud, it is possible that it could just be that the wires only form legs once Molten Freddy is animating them, so. Which could be a justification. It's just not one that I really jive with. Mostly because Molten Freddy not having legs makes the design more interesting. Less physically possible, granted, but more interesting. Especially because, like, because having legs is sort of what Entered already did. And it does the better job of giving off the whole, this thing is barely functioning off of pure spite alone. Because, like, you really get the feeling that Baby was the one holding the thing together in the first place when it was Entered. Because you look at Entered and, like, yeah, it's still chaotic, but there's still sort of rhyme to the reason. There's a meaning to the madness. Because you can still see, like, solid, intentional arms, legs, body, torso, hips. The skull is pretty intact, all things considered. Like, not intact as in, like, fixed and stage-worthy, but you know what I mean? Because, like, you can tell that, at least with Baby there's some stability. But with Molten Freddy driving the wheel, after Elizabeth got herself voted out of the tribe, like, there's none of that. Like, it's just pure, unadulterated chaos. And again, it's a design I vibe with. Because, like, it just looks really cool. Because, again, it tells a story. Because, like, you look at the fun times in System Location, and you think, okay, it's a group of characters, and they all have those sort of, like, muscle fiber looking endoskeletons. Gotcha. And then you look at Entered, and you think, like, okay, this is what happens when they took themselves apart and fused themselves together. Okay, makes sense. Like, I see the vision. And then you look at Scrap Baby and Molten Freddy afterwards. And while you don't get the entire story, obviously you sort of get like some. You still end up getting some of it just by their designs alone. Like, the obvious part that you get is that, okay, something happened to make Circus Baby get ejected. Whether that be an argument, or she left, or she tore herself out, or everyone else forced her out. Something happened to get her out, right? We just don't really know what that thing was. Personally, in my mind, I think it'd be the whole she wants to follow in Afton's footsteps, and everyone else being victims of said Afton obviously don't want that, and so they're just thinking, okay, kick her out. She's on his side, and we're not. So, get her to piss off. And which obviously they do. But then they both aren't exactly doing solidly, because Circus Baby was the one keeping Molten Freddy together, and without her being there, you still have the three of them, but they're a lot less. You still have Funtime Foxy, Ballora, and Funtime Freddy, but they're a lot less aware and sentient than she was, and so they just and so the form kind of starts like failing at that point, and so they have to actually scavenge around for parts to kind of keep themselves in some form of working condition. Like the little suit things on the fingers and the mask. Although I imagine the mask would be more because Freddy just wanted his face back, because he was the one in charge now. But then you got Scrap Baby, who was just completely defenseless at that point, because, well, we don't really know what that scene would have looked like. At best, she's just like a tiny pile of wires that's roughly Circus Baby shaped. So at best, her defenses are pretty minimal. And so I heard at one point it kind of described that she goes back to the underground animatronic bunker to collect parts to rebuild herself. And I really like that idea. Number one, because obviously she still has parts from her original suit, like the claw and the spotlight things in the breaker room. Not the breaker room. The control module. So you can see where parts of her came from. And then you also got, and yeah, she just takes parts to make herself look like her original suit. I was looking at Twitter earlier. I forget if it was today or yesterday. But I saw someone, more or less complaining about how people in the Final Fantasy Phrase fandom clamor for things like the unwithered animatronics and the what were they called? The unscrap animatronics. Like, basically, what did the suits of the withereds and the scrap animatronics look like when they were fixed? And they made the observation of, like, we know what the unwithered versions of these characters look like, and then it just showed pictures of the classic animatronics and the puppet and the Fun Times and Springtrap and whatnot. Like, yeah, we know what they looked like before, But the reason people want to see stuff like the Unwithereds and the Unscraps is they're the same characters, but the new suits that they have afterwards are so vastly different that it's impossible that they're the same suit. I look at I think the best example would be Withered. Probably the Wizards actually would be at least a good example. Like Withered Chica, for example. Withered Chica's feet have 3 toes. Withered Chica's beak, regardless of her withering, is a separate jaw piece rather than classic Chica, which didn't have that. Withered Chica is obviously a lot taller. Her head is absolutely more vertical than Chica's. Classic Chica, which is more round. But then you also got like Scrap Trap. And you cannot look at Springtrap and Scrap Trap and tell me those are not different suits. Anyway. I know it's a bit early, but since I don't have a co-host, I don't want to drag this out for too long. So I'm going to call it here. I had fun with this. Because it's still drawing for Original Curse, even if it's not technically drawing for Original Curse, if you know what I mean. But, also, yes, I use Opera GX. It's not a bad search engine. Anyway. I'm going to find us a person to raid. And we have 2. So I know exactly where I'm sending you guys. Alright, but thank you all, lovely people, so much for watching. And I shall see you all in the next show. Stay tuned.
N has T.